Good morning, everybody. We're going to be reading chapter 3 of The Princess and the Goblin today. In chapter 2, we heard about Irene getting lost in her own house. Do you remember what happened at the very end of the chapter? That's right. She wanders around these halls with just nothing but more doors. And it seems like she's trying to get her way back, but then she continues wandering up further and further into the house, to areas she's never seen before. She is truly lost, but she is about to go up a long, narrow staircase that is, it looks like nobody has been there for years. It looks very mysterious. So let's begin reading chapter 3, which is The Princess and We Shall See Who. So that tells us already she's going to find somebody up there in kind of the attic of this house. I'm going to present this over. Unfortunately, it's not going to look great. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just present it in its more original form so that it can hold on to the dialogue so that it's separated correctly. I think this is going to be better. I'll just zoom in. Okay. Because there's a lot of parts of this that are dialogue between the princess and We Shall See Who. Now, when she came to the top, she found herself in a little square place with 3 doors. I'll just hold it like this. I know it's a little bit too far away, but it's going to be better in just a bit. 2 opposite each other and 1 opposite the top of the stair. She stood for a moment without an idea in her little head what to do next. But as she stood, she began to hear a curious humming sound. Could it be the rain? No, it was much more gentle and even monotonous, which means like dull and the same, than the sound of the rain, which now she scarcely heard. The low, sweet humming sound went on, sometimes stopping for a little while and then beginning again. It was more like the hum of a very happy bee that had found a rich well of honey and some globular flower than anything else I can think of at this moment. Where could it come from? This is where we're at now. She laid her ear first to one of the doors to hearken if it was there, then to another. When she laid her ear against the 3rd door, there could be no doubt where it came from. It must be from something in that room. What could it be? She was rather afraid, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. That's good. She's more curious than afraid. And she opened the door very gently and peeped in. And what do you think she saw? But a very old lady who sat spinning. Now that probably makes you think she's like spinning in a chair. And that would be a very silly sight. No, she is spinning, putting threads together. So it is a part of the sewing process. So we'll pull up the spinning wheel that she might be sitting at. Some of you might be thinking of like Sleeping Beauty. There is spinning wheel in Sleeping Beauty that she gets pricked by. So there it is. That's what she's sitting at, this old woman. Very curious. Now, perhaps you will wonder how the princess could tell that the old lady was an old lady, when I inform you that not only was she beautiful, but her skin was smooth and white. Now, that's unusual, right? What would you expect an old lady's skin to look like? Maybe pale, but certainly not smooth. It'd be wrinkled, but this woman did not have wrinkly skin. I will tell you more. Her hair was combed back from her forehead and face and hung loose, far down and all over her back. That is not much like an old lady, is it? Ah, but it was white, almost as snow, it says. Almost as white as snow. That's how you can tell it's an old lady. And although her face was so smooth, her eyes looked so wise that you could not have helped saying she must be old. Now the princess, though she could not have told you why, did think her very old indeed. Quite 50, she said to herself. maybe 50 years old. But she was rather older than that, as you shall hear. While the princess stared bewildered, which means confused, with her head just inside the door. This is where we're at. I'm having a hard time. There we go. The old lady lifted hers and said in a sweet but old and rather shaky voice, which mingled very pleasantly with the continued hum of her wheel, "Come in, my dear, come in. I am glad to see you." That the princess was a real princess you might see now quite plainly, for she didn't hang on to the handle of the door and stare without moving, as I have known some do who ought to have been princesses, but were only rather vulgar little girls. But she did as she was told. She stepped inside the door at once and shut it gently behind her. That takes a lot of courage, considering this is a strange woman in a strange part of her house that she's never seen before. "Come to me, my dear," said the old lady. And again, the princess did as she was told. Here we are. She approached the old lady, rather slowly, I confess, but did not stop until she stood by her side and looked up in her face with her blue eyes and the two melted stars in them. "Why, what have you been doing with your eyes, child?" asked the old lady. "Crying," answered the princess. "But why, child?" "Because I couldn't find my way down again." "But you could find your way up." "Not at first, not for a long time." "But your face is streaked like the back of a zebra. Hadn't you a handkerchief to wipe your eyes with?" Was one of our spelling words. It's a tissue that's from cloth, so it's reusable. So she's basically saying, why did you cry? "You shouldn't be crying." The princess answers, "No, I didn't have a handkerchief." "Then why didn't you come to me to wipe them for you?" "Please, I didn't know you were here," Princess Irene says. "I will next time." "There's a good child," said the old lady. Then she stopped her wheel and rose, and going out of the room, returned with a little silver basin and a soft white towel, with which she washed and wiped the bright little face. And the princess thought her hands were so smooth and nice. What do you think of this old lady so far? It's very mysterious. She seems like she almost knows the princess, and she certainly wants to help. Now, when she carried away the basin and the towel, the princess wondered to see how straight and tall she was. For although she was so old, she didn't stoop a bit. This is where we're at. She was dressed in black velvet with thick, white, heavy-looking lace about it, and on the black dress her hair shone like silver. There was hardly any more furniture in the room than there might have been in that of the poorest old woman who made her bread by her spinning. There was no carpet on the floor, no table anywhere, nothing but the spinning wheel and the chair beside it. When she came back, she sat down, and without a word began her spinning once more, while Irene, who had never seen a spinning wheel, stood by her side and looked on. When the old lady had got her thread fairly going again, she said to the princess, but without looking at her, "Do you know my name, child?" "No, I don't know what it is," answered the princess. "My name is Irene." "That's the old woman talking." "That's my name," cried the princess. "I know that. I let you have mine. I haven't got your name. You've got mine." "Well, how can that be?" asked the princess, bewildered. "I've always had my name." "Your papa, the king, asked me if I had any objection to your having it, and of course I hadn't. I let you have it with pleasure." "It was very kind of you to give me your name, and it's such a pretty one," said the princess. So this little princess, Irene, is named after this other Irene, and it was the king's idea. "Oh, it's not so very kind," said the old lady. "A name is one of those things one can give away and keep all the same." Meaning, it's not just a gift. The old lady Irene is still Irene. "I have a good many such things. Wouldn't you like to know who I am, child?" "Yes, that I should. very much, the princess says. I'm your great-great-grandmother, said the lady. What's that? Asked the princess. I'm your father's mother's mother. Oh my goodness. Now, probably most of you have at least one grandparent still alive. Do any of you have great-grandparents still alive? Now, it's highly unlikely that you have a great-great-grandparent still alive. That would be the parent of your great-grandparent, or it's your grandma or grandpa's grandma or grandpa. That is quite old. Oh dear, I can't understand that, said the princess. Well, I dare say not. I didn't expect you would, but that's no reason why I shouldn't say it, she says. Meaning, just because you can't understand it doesn't mean it's not true. Oh no, answered the princess. I will explain it all to you when you are older, the lady went on, but you will be able to understand this much now. I came here to take care of you. So why is the old lady there, the grandmother? To take care of little Irene. I've been here. Oh, sorry, here. Is it long since you came? Was it yesterday or was it today? Because it was so wet that I couldn't get out? I've been here ever since you came yourself. Now, the princess has been there her whole life. How did she not know that her great-great-grandmother has been here, at the same house, for her whole life? What a long time, said the princess. I don't remember it at all. No, I suppose not. But I never saw you before. No, but you shall see me again. Do you live in this room always? The princess asked. Well, I don't sleep in it. I sleep on the opposite side of the landing, but I sit here most of the day. I shouldn't like it. My nursery is much prettier, she says. You must be a queen too, if you are my great big grandmother. I like that part. So, great big grandmother sounds kind of offensive, but she says, yes, I am a queen. Where is your crown then? The princess asked. In my bedroom. Well, the princess says, I should like to see it. You shall someday, but not today. I wonder why Nursey never told me, Irene says. Nursey doesn't know. She never saw me. But somebody knows that you are in the house. No, nobody. Nobody in the whole house knows of her being up there. Well, how do you get your dinner then? I keep poultry of a sort. Poultry is birds. Well, where do you keep them? The princess asks. I will show you. And who makes the chicken broth for you? Well, I never kill any of my chickens. Then I can't understand, the princess says. Well, what did you have for breakfast this morning? Asked the lady. Oh, I had bread and milk and an egg. I dare say you eat their eggs. Yes, that's it. I eat their eggs. Is that what makes your hair so white? I assume she just means because of the shell. No, my dear, she says. It's old age. I am very old. I thought so, the princess says. Are you 50? Yes, more than that, the lady says. Are you 100? Yes, more than that. I am too old for you to guess. Come and see my chickens. Again, she stopped her spinning. She rose, took the princess by the hand, led her out of the room, and opened the door opposite the stair. The princess expected to see a lot of hens and chickens, but instead of that, she saw the blue sky first and then the roofs of the house, with a multitude of the loveliest pigeons, mostly white, but of all colors. Do you all know what pigeons are? The type of bird I can show you. Like this. So those are the birds that she's getting her food from. Very common bird, not considered that special, I would say. Sorry, getting back to the spot. Mostly white, but of all colors. They were walking about, here we are, making bows to each other and talking a language she could not understand. She clapped her hands with delight, and up rose such a flapping of wings that she in turn was startled. "You frightened my poultry," said the old lady, smiling. "And they frightened me," said the princess, smiling too. "But what very nice poultry! Are the eggs nice?" "Yes, very nice." "What a small egg spoon you have," says the princess. So there's a tiny little egg spoon she has. "Wouldn't it be better to keep hens and to get bigger eggs?" Hens are chickens. "But how should I feed them, though?" "I see," said the princess. "The pigeons feed themselves. They've got wings." So the pigeons go off, they eat, then they come back, and they have eggs that the lady can eat, great-great-grandmother Irene. "Just so. If they couldn't fly, I couldn't eat their eggs." "But how do you get at the eggs? Where are their nests?" The lady took hold of a little loop of string in the wall at the side of the door and lifted a shutter, showed a great many pigeonholes with nests, some with young ones and some with eggs in them. The birds came in at the other side, and she took out the eggs on this side. She closed it again quickly, lest the young ones should be frightened. "Oh, what a nice way," cried the princess. "Will you give me an egg to eat? I'm rather hungry." "I will some day, but now you must go back, or Nursey will be miserable about you. I dare say she's looking for you everywhere." "Except here," answered the princess. "Oh, how surprised she will be when I tell her about my great big grandmother." "Yes, that she will," said the old lady with a curious smile. "Mind you tell her all about it exactly." "That I will," said the princess. "Please, will you take me back to her?" "I can't go all the way, but I will take you to the top of the stair, and then you must run down quite fast into your own room." The little princess put her hand in the old lady's, who looked in this way, don't want to reveal that part yet, who, looking this way and that, brought her to the top of the first stair and thence to the bottom of the second, and did not leave her till she saw her halfway down the third. When she heard the cry of her nurse's pleasure at finding her, she turned and walked up the stairs again, very fast indeed for such a very great grandmother, and sat down to her spinning with another strange smile on her sweet old face. About this spinning of hers, I will tell you more another time. Just guess what she was spinning. Do you have any guesses? Well, we will have to wait a little longer. We won't even find out in chapter 4. But in chapter 4, we will hear what the nurse thought of it. So Nurse Ludi is like the nanny. And she is about to hear what Irene saw upstairs. What do you think she will think of her story? You think she'll believe it? Okay. I would love to hear your guesses as to what she is spinning. Don't reveal anything if you know. And also what you think Nurse Ludi's response will be to hearing this story. I hope that you all are enjoying it. There's a lot of very curious parts of this chapter, and it gets more and more strange, as you'll see. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Feel free to continue reading from this if you have a copy of the book. I will talk to you later. Bye.